It's showtime, folks. Welcome in Chase and Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game on this Monday. He is Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier behind the glass as well. Ian Safar has been hanging out and about. Joe, how was your weekend?
It was good. Real quick before we get into the topic, which is taking over sports in America, which happened in our own backyard.
The Masters?
Yeah, the Masters. I don't even know who won that. I have no idea.
Hang on, really?
I have no
You're
idea.
kidding me, right?
I'm not watching golf. I don't care what it is.
Dude, I
I'm not
watched for
watching-
2 straight days. It was awesome.
I'm happy for you. I am elated that you did that. I'm not spending my time sitting in front of the TV watching golf.
I should make you have to talk about this just to punish you.
Then it'd be dead silence.
Rory McIlroy.
Oh, good for
won
him.
it.
All right.
It was his first time winning the Masters, and now he is the 6th player in history to have a career Grand Slam.
Nice. Good. Single, double, triple, no home run.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not trying to be a contrarian and everything. I don't know.
Oh, man.
I didn't
It
watch.
was so good. So compelling.
My thing, real quick, I'm 5 seconds. Y'all need to slow down in this world on the road, right? There was a guy that was killed on Lebanon Road yesterday on a motorcycle speeding. Slow down. The fence by the airport, the bottom of Donaldson Pike, somebody went down there, lost control, and ripped the fence apart. So now they're fixing the fence, and traffic is backed up. I was visiting my brother yesterday, coming back from Portland. I was going. I don't forget. I was 81 miles an hour. I was going. I got a guy that honked at me because I was passing a truck, an 18-wheeler. I didn't go fast. He honked at me. He was going at least 95. Y'all got to slow down.
Yeah, well,
it's okay.
People are not patient at all anymore.
All right, that's all I needed. Just slow down.
It's just it's very annoying. But yeah, I agree with you. So we have a big show planned today. The coach, whenever there's something big in college football, we call the coach. He'll join us at 9:30. Coach Walt Wells of Eastern Kentucky University, and Brett Kern will join us at 10.
Well, with the Nico thing, we need to know from a head coach perspective what the hell's going on.
Yeah, well, before we go any further, I do want to announce something that I'm not going to play the rest of the show. I'm in negotiations on a new contract, so
take care of yourself.
I'm just going to leave. So good luck.
Could you imagine? You're a boss.
Right. Oh, I know.
One of the afternoon guys come in and say, I'm not going to do that.
One of?
You're like, no. Oh, bye.
I mean, look, if anybody said that, if I went and said that to my bosses, the answer would be like, all right.
It's been fun.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
It's been a good time. I just want to know now with the Nico thing, but who's on his side? If you're
I don't feel like anybody is.
If you're on his side, please text in. Please call us at 615-737-1025. I want to know because I think it's united us sports fans.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to hear from somebody that's pro Nico, as he said, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, because everything I've seen on Twitter has basically been like, all right, deuces.
Right.
See ya.
Take care of yourself.
And here's the thing. I think we can all say this. We all know this. We all understand how this works. If he had been, this anointed one like everybody said he was, if he was, contending for the Heisman, if they had won a playoff game, if they were predicted to, be a top echelon team this year, guess what? He'd still be on the team. But he's not.
True.
And so that tells you everything that you need to know. The fact that there was none of this, oh, Nico, please stay. Please don't leave. Oh, we'll figure it out. Okay, we're on the phone with, the Haslams now. We're going to get this worked out. Like none of that happened.
Right.
It was basically like Thursday, all this started coming out. We talked about it Friday of like, this is kind of strange. He doesn't show up to practice. His dad's on Twitter saying, oh, it's all a bunch of BS. Like, none of it's true. And then by Saturday morning, Josh Heupel's telling the team, yeah, he's gone.
Right. This is from a source inside a source who knows somebody, blah, 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 blah. It says, it wasn't all about money. Spire Collective, the handle UT's NIL, was okay with the bump because it's not going to a different tax bracket. They leaked some stuff trying to pressure number 8's camp. UT had reached top dollar. Nico liked UT and Heupel. Daddy had been pimping him out since his first college snap. The true problem was Nico's family. They were riding this kid to the grave. Sometimes the juice is not worth the squeeze. They wanted tickets to this, extra seats. Give me a suite. Give me that suite. I want to go to that game. Endless barrage of things. Son making millions, trying to get comp tickets to charity dinners so they can get their butt kissed. On and on and on and on. Now word comes out that Nico wanted to negotiate before the college football playoff, and other players, quote, air quote, were going to do that. If they did not get their demands, they were going to allegedly sit out the playoff game. Good riddance. Goodbye. Gone. I mean, But here's the deal. I said Saturday, Chase. Saturday was a great day for college football. It was also an awful day for college football. This is the world that y'all have created, and now you want to cry about it. Too bad.
I 100% agree with you. I mean, this is – well, and I'm not going to say everybody with y'all because I think we all kind of agreed that some things needed to change. There's no argument from my end there. The problem is you, being the NCAA, let it change and sat on your butt and didn't do anything to put any kind of regulations in. So now it truly is the Wild Wild West. And college football has always been the Wild Wild West. And it's even more the Wild Wild West now. We sit here, some people are appalled that this would even happen. Like, where's the loyalty? Y'all, the only loyalty that exists is to the dollar, is to open up your phone, check your bank account. That's where the loyalty is. And if, School B is over here going, hey, Nico, hey, man, yeah, we'll give you $4 million a year. Come on, come over here. I mean, that's the way it is now. Now, I did learn something through all this, and maybe I should have known this, and maybe I did know this and just didn't realize I knew it. I know there's a spring transfer window, but I thought that was just for like basketball and like other sports. I did not realize that football. I thought once you got through the one in December, then you were locked in for a year. Yeah, that I think is BS. Like I think once you transfer in the fall, like that should be it. Like there shouldn't be a spring window. At least they have regulations in place where you can't go to another SEC school, within that time. But it's like that just seems. But at the same time, if dude don't want to be here or his parents are getting in the way or whatever, see ya.
Exactly. Yeah, all that. But it's the game they've all playing now. I mean, you got the demands. You made him greater than the team, and now he's gone. And it's funny, man, because I didn't go to the spring game on Saturday, but a lot of people there were like cheering for the backup quarterbacks, like loud. And so Nico's done. I mean,
I want one of these freshmen to get the job. I mean, I know they're going to have to go get somebody in the portal, and they'll probably find a starter in the portal because, what you've done now is open up a whole can of worms where there's going to be guys that were happy at their program, but it's a smaller program, and they're going to say, oh, the Tennessee job's open. I'm transferring.
I don't know. Maybe Heupel says, look, I got a couple good guys here. I got a guy to recruit coming in next year. I'm going to live and die with these guys. You got 4 months.
No, he's already said he's going to get, they have 2 guys.
Good. Don't beat them out. Bingo. Love it. McIntyre and the other guy, I forget his name. I can't pronounce.
Merklinger.
There we go. To do all that things. But this is the lay of the land. So truly, how does it all work? Coach Wells joins us at 9:30. He's a head coach of college football program. So he'll have all the answers. We can ask him anything we want, and he'll answer and let us know, because there's a lot of like, well, how does this work? What goes on there? What about this? We'll get as much information as we can.
You know what I would love to see happen in all of this? What would be fantastic is, he's been Nico and his group have been such spoiled, petty, what's about this, that even like programs like a USC or UCLA or Oregon or whatever have all the deep pockets. They're like, you know what? You ain't worth it.
No.
And he ends up having to go, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but he has to go to a smaller, like an MTSU or where he's not going to make the money.
Right.
And it's like, you want to play, you better go play and prove yourself all over again.
Oh, man.
That would be so fantastic.
Yeah, it would be.
Now starting for the TSU Tigers.
I don't know if they'd take him. I
don't think they'd take him.
I mean, why would you take him?
I wouldn't like Derek Mason. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but if I'm him, I don't want that in my group, because that he'd just be there just to play and be gone as soon as he could be.
I mean, I'll take Vadiato every day over Nico.
Hell yeah.
That goes on. So yeah, I just think now he is what's the word? I mean, he is he's charred goods, or whatever you call that. The don't want you anymore, whatever. You've got a problem with it. Nobody wants that problem on their program right now. They don't want to have it. So you just go forward with the guys you got. But man, greed has been the downfall of man throughout history, and it's happening again right here.
All right. So George McIntyre, Brentwood Academy, his grandfather was at Vanderbilt, right?
Correct.
George McIntyre at Vanderbilt.
Yes. Yep.
Is Mike his dad or is Mike his uncle?
I think it's his uncle.
Uncle.
Yes.
Okay.
Who just got fired at FIU.
Yeah. The McIntyres, I mean, have a lot of deep history here in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. George was coach from 79 to 85 at Vanderbilt. Matt and Mike McIntyre were his sons, and then
So Matt's his dad.
I think that's correct. Yes, I know it's not the FIU coach, which was Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
we'll go with
Matt played here, and then
Where's Mike Organ?
Then his dad got let go. Then he transferred to I think Georgia Tech, where he went and finished
Gotcha.
out his career.
Gotcha.
So, but anyway, I mean, he's been up there since January. He's an early enrollee, and I don't know, man. Maybe these guys beat him out and you go for it. But I'm proud of Heupel, man. I'm proud of that, not letting that guy hijack your program. And there was some guy, I don't know, his name's Josh Pate. I was just reading about him. He's on 24/7. Staunchly defended Nico, and he got blasted.
I'm not gonna. No, I think you're incorrect there. If it's the clip that they played on the morning show,
is it from 24/7?
I don't call that defense.
On Saturday, he was like, they should have paid him. They should have paid him and figured it out.
He did a reverse stance last night.
All right.
We'll play that coming back. Again,
Good.
you can weigh in on this. The Nico situation. Are you for him? Are you against him? Do you care? 615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We're live today from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
a lot of the people who have been pushing for the changes that are happening in the sport, they would call them progress. I would call them just changes. A lot of the stuff they told you didn't have to worry about, a lot of the stuff they told you that wouldn't happen, it's funny how it keeps happening. These are the same people who would tell you players would never opt out of playoff games. If we had more playoff games and less meaningless bowl games, then players won't opt out of playoff games. That same crowd fails to mention that this past December, cats like Nico Iamaleava almost held out of playoff games because they were trying to renegotiate contracts in the middle of a playoff run. He wasn't the only one. But just understand, all these people who cannot take a piss without getting the front of their pants wet, that claim to know what's best for this sport and claim to be visionaries, and boy, they can type a lot of words per minute, can't they? They have not the slightest clue what's best for this sport. And so we've taken the stance on this show for the past several months that we'll just ignore them. I don't really care. I don't care if you label me anti-players' rights. I don't care. I am pro-college football.
That was Josh Pate last night. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game on this Monday. Taking your reaction. Nico Iamaleava out at Tennessee. They're moving on from him. He's in the transfer portal because he wants more money. 615-737-1025. Coach Walt Wells from Eastern Kentucky will join us at 9:30, who, of course, has coached at Tennessee. He's been a college coach for a long time. A couple of people weighing in on both X and our text line. Casey Mack says, Nico made more money the last 2 years, last year, $2 million, than Brock Purdy's $935,000 base salary, and Purdy took his team to the Super Bowl. Will Levis, $975,000 base salary, who stinks. Let that sink in. He wasn't worth $4 million. No one is bigger than the program.
Good point.
I agree with that. But like Brock Purdy, who was the last pick in the draft, helped take his team to a Super Bowl, and his base salary is not even $1 million a year. And here's Nico bitching that he needs more than $2 million a year.
Well, I mean, is it him or Daddy?
Well, I think it's Daddy.
Yeah.
But at some point, you have to take control of your own situation.
I agree.
Because I've read some reports that apparently he really liked Tennessee and he liked Heupel and thought it was a good fit and he didn't want to leave, but Dad was kind of pushing all this. Well, at some point you need to look at Dad and say, "Hey, I'm the one doing this. Go, you sit."
Scared of Daddy. Scared of Diddy.
Go do your curls on the beach.
I'm not going to do that. And now it all comes out. Missing autograph sessions, missing charity events. Now it all boils up, and you're like, this is much more than a look. If they wanted to pay him, they could have paid him.
Sure,
I doubt my mind.
If he was an elite player, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. It would have never gotten out. It would have just been done, and then there would have been a tweet that said, "By the way, Nico is making $4 million a year now."
But somebody's going to. He's a used car. Somebody's going to buy the used car.
Of course they are.
Who knows where? I mean, what program in America is going to buy it? And
do you think he ends up in Oregon?
No,
because the rumor was that Dan Lanning called Heupel
and said
Daddy's shopping him, just so you know.
I think the thing with Dad was sniffing around.
Yeah, sniffing around.
I love that word so much because it's just so mean.
If that report's true, good on Dan Lanning.
Absolutely.
You know what? I have no issue with that whatsoever. Good on him, because that stuff hasn't existed in college sports in a while. Tennessee 615 says, I'm glad he's gone. I'm all about the kids getting paid. I'm pro player. But if Nico and his representatives, his mom and daddy, think he's worth more, go out and find it. The university shouldn't have a problem finding someone that wants to be there for a more reasonable amount.
Bingo. Great way to put it right there.
And look, I'm with you of letting the young guys, bring in somebody, make a competition, and if that person wins, great. There are some names out there that certainly would be attractive to Tennessee. But if one of the young guys gets the job, then they get the job. Now the question then becomes, does the fan base, does the administration kind of look at this and go, if let's say they end up going 8-4 this year,
okay,
or 9, they have a not a down year, but a not what they were projected to do. Is everyone going to lay off a Heupel? knowing the situation.
Yeah, I think so. By
I
the way,
think you should, but I don't know if they will.
The spring-
Dr. Crane's shaking his head saying
They won't.
They won't.
This Tennessee fan base will eat him alive.
Heupel?
you're probably
Yes.
I mean, I think
How? When? If
When they go 7-5, fans will be wondering, we were in the playoff last year.
Yeah.
How come we're not there again this year?
I-
And they'll be like, well, it's because Nico wasn't there. You can't say that. This is college football. You have the resources. Go out and get a quarterback in the portal.
I don't think you know Tennessee football fans. I think they unite over certain things. They're united on this, and they know the fallout of this because they know this guy was taking advantage of him. And I think Tennessee football fans, look, they might be weird, they might be goofy because all fan bases are, but they know, and they're very loyal. When you try to screw the program, they get it. And
Yeah.
this is something they'll understand this.
There's a fine line between, screwing over the fan base and the fan base turning on you. And I think 7-5 is that fine line. If they go 8-4, they'll cut them some slack. They go 7-5 or 6-6, buddy, there's some hot water boiling.
Had he been a better quarterback, yes.
Yeah. So number one, you guys did a fine job Saturday when all this was breaking. We had Force Company on the air, and they did a fantastic job
Thank you
with it.
very much.
Number two, usually I would agree with you. I think this is a different situation though, because I've been pleasantly surprised that a vast majority of the fan base has basically been like, middle finger, see ya. But usually I would say, yeah, they're not going to be patient, but I think they like Heupel enough. The receipts are there. They've seen the success. And I think now they're realizing, like, if you go and look back at last year, he was good. He wasn't great. And he didn't really show me, he didn't really show me signs of, oh, he's just a young player. He's going to grow into it. He showed me he kind of is what he is. And so I think the fan base, there will be some that'll call for Heupel's head, but that's just, they're never happy. But I think a vast majority are going to be a little more patient and just kind of want to see what it looks like, moving forward. Because they got the 5-star kid that's coming in. McIntyre's there. Merklinger's there. Is it Merk? Is that how you say it?
Something like that.
Jack Merklinger.
Merklinger.
Yeah.
He's there.
Jack.
And then they're going to bring in somebody off the portal, and then they'll have some non-scholarship guys too, I'm sure, that are on the roster. But yeah, I think they'll be a little bit more patient, and they need to be based on the situation. A lot of you weighing in on the text line. Wes in Clarksville says, I still don't believe in paying college athletes because of this right here. That much money is not good for young players. So I get what you're saying, Wes, but again, it's $1 billion business. Everybody was getting a piece of the pie except for the players.
Yeah.
The players deserve a piece of the pie. It just needs to be controlled.
It
And
does.
right now there's no control.
And don't tell me there needs to be a salary cap unless you put a salary cap on coaches.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So you salary cap on coaches. Yeah, you put a salary cap on the players. Look, if a school, if they wanted to pay Nico $18 million a year, that's on them. That's on the school paying them $18 million, whatever the number is. It's a large amount for a player. But coaches do it all the time. Coaches leave all the time. So stop with the salary cap talk. It's not happening.
So this texter is named Wildcat, so I'm going to assume I know where his loyalties lie.
Northwestern.
But he says, who are we? The Wildcats. Who are we going to beat? The Wildcats. Never make a player bigger than the program anywhere, period. Tennessee fans hyped him up so much. The entitlement was so real. Lesson learned. I say let the kids play first and earn a paycheck before paying them. No more. I will give my all for Tennessee today. Bull. All about the Benjamins, boys.
That's it.
But
But there's nothing we could do about it. As a fan, you're not.
Lisa from Dixon, the NIL stuff is way out of hand. I've always thought that college athletes probably should be paid some pocket money so they could go to a movie or take a date out to dinner. But never did I dream, I love that. Never did I dream that they would be getting millions. A lot of these players come from nothing and don't have any idea how to handle sudden wealth. I think that goes for
Good point.
any sport, any level. I mean, that's the biggest problem. I do want to touch on something else today. The receiver Lacey from LSU.
Yeah.
The sad news coming out over the weekend that he passed away. Looks like he took his own life. Obviously was dealing with a lot of stuff. Was probably going to be a first-round pick. Had the accident, the tragedy that happened. and you see what all the pressure, unfortunately, eventually did to him. Like that's what needs to be addressed, is helping these kids handle all of this, because they don't know how,
No.
because they don't come from a lot of them don't come from places that know how. Hell, I've come from, a great family that raised me right and did all they could for me. I mean, if we came into all this, I don't know if they'd be able to help. I mean, it's like, it's a lot for a lot of people.
Well, you're 20 years old and you get $800,000 dropped in your lap. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, you think I'm gonna save that?
No, you're not.
Like,
You're not
I'm not
doing
gonna.
that.
It's like I've always said: if I won the lottery, I'm not gonna yell it from the mountaintops, but there will be signs that that something has changed.
What's the biggest sign?
Probably the $100,000 sports car that I'll come peeling into the.
You'd come
parking lot
back here to
with.
work?
I got to clean my office out.
Okay. I'll give you that. I think you'd add it. No, you're right. I mean, there are a lot of problems involved. Look, a 20-year-old kid today is like a 20-year-old kid in the 50s, and it's all, you're 20 years old. You don't know anything. And now when you drop that all in your lap, you're like, oh my goodness. But now when you get the parents involved and the parents become greedy, like Nico's dad is greedy, where are you now? You're nowhere.
Yep.
You happy? By the way, the spring portal is April 16th to the 25th. Starts in 2 days.
We will find out. A lot of you will get back to the text line and on this, but to get more perspective from a coaching point of view, we're going to talk to Walter Wells. He is the head coach at Eastern Kentucky University, and of course, friend of the show, best friend of Big Joe. We'll do that coming up next here on Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, the game on this Monday. The beat goes on in Knoxville. To get more of a coaching perspective on this, let's say hello to good friend of the show, Coach Walt Wells of Eastern Kentucky University. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing? Got a lot to talk about today, huh?
Just a couple of different things. We appreciate you taking the time. We always come to you when there's a big story in college football, and also gives us a chance to brag on the job you've done at Eastern Kentucky. But I do want to get your perspective as a head coach, as someone that's having to navigate all these NIL and transfer portal waters in college athletics these days. When you saw this with Nico Iamaleava in Tennessee, I mean, what were kind of your thoughts as a coach of like, hey, we're in spring practice right now, about to have the spring game, and this guy is wanting more money and eventually leaves?
Well, I mean, it didn't surprise me when I heard the news, and I heard like everybody else, probably on Twitter or somebody told me, but it doesn't surprise you because that's the state that college football is in right now. If you don't like your situation, you have every right to leave. And that's the rules that are in place right now. Now, do I agree with the rules? No. But does that matter? No, because the NCAA really doesn't care. And so that's where we're at. They're going to blame the judges. The judges are going to blame the NCAA. And nobody's stepping up and making a decision. And what it ends up doing is, I'm not, I don't blame Nico. I don't blame Tennessee. It's just how it happened. And it's happening all over the country. I mean, the portal opens Wednesday and goes to next Friday. And everybody's, I've got 2 weeks of spring ball left. And everybody else is either done or close to getting done. So it's just where it's at right now.
Well, and I look at this situation now with the spring portal opening of a program like yours, for instance, that let's say you got a quarterback that you're locked in on and you feel really, really good about it and everything's been great. Well, all of a sudden he sees that the Tennessee job's open. There's going to be kids that are going to enter the portal that had no plans to do so a week ago. And now you're going to kind of mess with some other programs. Now, granted, I understand they could go back and all of that, but it creates more of a wild, wild west situation that, like you said, if the NCAA and all of that cared a little bit more and put some regulations in place, this could all be avoided.
Well, it's people making decisions that aren't, in my opinion, haven't ever been in the fray of what's going on. And they sit up there and they think they got all the time in the world. Well, it's just like last night, after Joe texted me and asked me to come on, I get a call from a really good football player that says, hey, can we meet tomorrow? Well, what's the first thing that goes in my mind?
Right.
Oh, here we go. And, because there's agents that are calling these guys, and the agents are pitting the players against the coaches, like, hey, we've got your best interest at heart. Those coaches don't. They just want to win. Well, hang on a second. Now, didn't we have their best interest at heart when we offered them a scholarship to get an education to, that we'll never leave them? And, and of course, they're going to say, well, we're just trying to get the best money for them and make the most money. That's what America is all about. And there's some truth to that, too. But, there's also rules and regulation in most jobs. The NFL has a great model. Don't understand why we haven't adopted it quicker, especially for the power forwards and, the group that's eventually going to break away and have their 40 to 60 team league and do it. It's just going to be minor league football.
So, all right, Walt Wells, head coach, Eastern Kentucky, proud McGavick High School graduate. Damn it. Let's put that out there. All right. So a guy comes to you, say a safety, he's really good, says, Coach, I need more money. What do you do then, Coach? Do you go to the collective? Do you go to your AD? What's the process? Because I think a lot of us are confused on the process.
Well, the process is what we're waiting to find out about. All right. So the process right now, currently as it sits, is it has to be gone through a collective. And so the collective has to have interest in helping the individual and then goes from there. Okay. The coaches are technically, we can set that meeting up and let them discuss the meeting and do all that stuff. They finally changed that rule a couple of years ago. So if they come in and they do that, then the collective's going to do that. Now, the collective has the right to do whatever they want to. If they want to help that young man out, they can. If they don't have to. You know, each level's different, and how it's ran and how much money is actually in the collective is different. So I think that's the part that everybody's got to understand is, you know, it hasn't come from the school yet. Now, starting when this house settlement was supposed to have been done a week ago, it's not, and everything happens. You know, your power fours are going to have, you know, most football schools are going to have $22 million to dish out to their players.
It's pretty good, right?
Of 105. Right. Oh, it's great. Yeah. I mean, I think it's awesome. And I think, you know, the average would probably be $170,000 or $80,000, maybe $200,000 right in there somewhere of what every kid will make. You know, and then 85 of them will probably be on scholarship, not have to pay for school out of that. And so, you know, I mean, I think if you go for 4 years or 5 years that you potentially can do, and you know, I mean, if you're a college student and you got your school paid for and you stick around for 4 years, let's just say 4, because most power fours are 3, but I mean, let's say 4. Well, that's, you know, I don't know. Let's do the easy math and say it's $200,000, and that's $800,000. Well, surely you can live off in 4 years $100,000 and save $400,000. And then but what these kids don't understand, I got to pay taxes.
Right.
I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to, if I've got, if it's coming from the school, then they don't have to have an agent fee. But if it's coming outside, and then you still have the collective that'll still be there for some of the other kids. And what they're saying is, well, the collective, the agents are taking, you know, an NFL agent takes 3%. On the average, now I'm not saying every agent, most agents take either 15 or 20% of these kids' money. So, I mean, that's a lot of money to broker a deal for a guy to leave a school to go to another school. That's all you really done.
Good Lord. I mean, you've been on the phone with us for 9 minutes. We haven't talked any X's and O's. Is this the world we're in now?
Well, it's constantly that. I mean, you try to let your assistants do that job, and then if you're, it's different at our level, but at the P4 level, they got general managers, assistant general managers, and everybody. I mean, it's very similar to how it used to be. When you had to deal with what we called street agents. They're just now legally doing it and taking the 20%.
The portal starts on Wednesday. You're in the middle of spring practice. Will you lose players?
I have before. This time last year, I lost my starting tailback. And, 2 years ago, Jaden Higgins, who is going to be probably a second round pick in the draft, maybe swing up into the first or move down to the third. He's right in there with, left at this time and went to Iowa State, and, I lost some other guys and, battled to keep guys. And, it's not what everybody's got to decide is that this is not college football that you grew up on, that I grew up on, and that our parents grew up on. This is really minor league football. I don't see how they can hold me responsible for education. I mean, because they're like, well, if your guy transfers, you're responsible. If he doesn't graduate, you lose a point. Well, why do I lose a point when they can transfer every semester?
Yeah.
Right.
How am I responsible for his education?
Yeah, education to me, like, I don't even think they care about it anymore. I want to ask you this, along the lines of what you just said, minor league football. Do you ever see a scenario where a guy leaves, he's got 1 or 2 years left of eligibility, goes into the NFL, flops, and then all of a sudden decides, hey, I want to go back to school, and then picks up his college career? Do you ever see that happening?
No, I don't see them being able to go play pro and then come back and play college. No, I would not think that.
I mean, you understand why I'm thinking that way, though, because of how who's to say, I'll use Will Levis as an example. I mean, he's gone to the league, hadn't gone great. I mean, I made the joke of, oh, Tennessee should call him. I mean, if he went to a college program right now, he'd probably be pretty good.
Well, the problem is, in my opinion, is you still got to do the school aspect of it while you're there.
Sure. Well, a lot of these
And
guys
so-
leave early and don't even finish their degree.
Well, most of them have got their degree because you can't leave until your third year.
Right.
And most of them have their degree done because of summer school and early enrolling at that level. And so, you know, what was happening and under the old system is these guys that didn't leave early were getting their master's degree paid for. Now, all that, you know, I mean, it's like the talk amongst coaches is, why am I trying to get them 2 degrees when it's just costing me money? Because we've gone from scholarships now to a budget. All right. So I used to have, you know, I had 63 scholarships that I can give up to 85 people on aid. At Tennessee, they have 85 scholarships that they could give 85 to. Well, now they have a budget, whatever that budget is, and it's $22 million. Plus their scholarship money, which is probably $2 to $3 more million.
That's pretty.
And-
Well, yeah. Keep going.
So now we're in the process here at EKU of developing contracts. Okay, what does the contract? What can it say, and what do you want it to say? Do you want it to talk about academics? Do you want it to talk about? All right, let's just say used to a kid quit right in September. Just I don't love football anymore. I don't want to play anymore, and he'd stay on scholarship for the rest of the way. Right nowadays, hey man, you got a contract. You broke your contract. Now you owe. Let's just say for simplicity, there's 6 months in a contract. You went 3 months. You owe 3 months of tuition. You owe 3 months of room and board. I'm not paying that
Right.
because I got to save that money to try to pay somebody else to stay. Maybe.
Yeah, and it never ends right there. Hey, listen, hold on the line. We got 2 more questions. We're going to take a break.
Yeah.
Can you hold on?
Yeah, I can.
All
Yeah.
right, we're going to hold on. We'll come back with you.
All right, we're gonna put Coach on hold. We'll have more with EKU head football coach Walt Wells coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
at the end of the day, he's moving on. We're moving on too, and we'll be ready to roll when we get to next fall.
That was Coach Josh Heupel. On Saturday, we continue our conversation with Coach Walt Wells from Eastern Kentucky University here on the Chasing Big Joe show.
All right, Coach, let me bring this up. Chris Winkie won the Heisman Trophy. I think he was 29 years old, right? You know Chris Winkie,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So he spent 7 years in minor league baseball, made a couple $1 million. Why is it okay for those guys to do baseball and all that and still keep the eligibility and come back and play football? I know it's been a rule for a while, but is that kind of unfair? Is that just kind of how it is? Because other guys, Dion did it. Other guys have done it throughout eligibility when they've gone pro in a sport.
Well, because with Chris, he never started school. See, there's still the NCAA rule that once you start school, you've got 5 years to play 4.
Okay, that makes perfect sense
Okay.
there.
So he never started school. So technically, anybody could do that that's never started school. But once you start school, your clock starts. Whether you're just a regular student or whether you're a student athlete, it doesn't matter. The first day you enroll in class and go sit in a class, your clock starts. You got 5 years to play 4. And you have to pass so many hours and you still got the academic portion to it. That's why the Will Levis thing right now, the way the standard is and the way the rules are, wouldn't work. Now, that gets into, it's still a university. It's still a place of learning. It's still, the education still is the number one product of every university that you go to. The problem is that is all true and very true and should be true. Okay, I think, everybody's got a degree, wants a degree, loves their school, went and worked hard for it, paid for it, however you paid for it, and you got your education. The problem is the football is making a lot of money.
Right.
And schools, University of Tennessee, Eastern Kentucky University was started in the early 1900s, right?
True.
What do they need? Money to build buildings, to redo buildings, to make, the 60 dorms, 2,025 dorms, to make, or tear them down and put new ones up. Well, where does that money come from? Well, donations, endowment, but it also comes from TV money at that level from football.
It's all about the money. Real quick, you have coached for two of the most iconic college football coaches of all time, Roy Kidd and Herschel Moore. I mean, those two guys are legendary college football coaches. And both men have passed away.
How could you leave Butch Jones off that?
Right. Sorry. What would their reaction be today, Coach? I mean, you go back with Paternos, the Bowdens, Roy Kidd is up there with those guys. What would the reaction be today if this Nico situation happened to them?
They would retire.
Like Saban.
I mean, when it depends, I work for them when they're old. If they're young, you're going to try to figure out a way to fight through it. I mean, every coach is going to say they're okay with it because guess what? They have to for recruiting. All right. They have to understand it. And I do understand them getting paid. They're making tons of money by going out and making great plays on CBS, ESPN, whatever. Okay. Vegas is making tons of money. That's the piece nobody talks about. But ESPN started a betting thing for a reason. And it's not because it didn't make money.
Right.
And so, all those things in play, these kids deserve, because they don't have time to work. They don't have time to go do internships. They don't have time. I mean, we have an aviation program, but you really can't play football and be in aviation because they, got to go fly when we're practicing. I mean, you just can't do it. And you can't fly without, flying, and you can't practice football or play without practice.
Right.
So, I mean, they do deserve some compensation, and totally. But what I think's gotten out of hand is we're paying kids, they're just going to the highest bidder, and it's gotten out of hand. And I liken this. This is what's happening out there, and on a similar stage. And I'm not going to say totally the same. Everybody knows the rock stars that at 18, 19, 20 years old make it, right? And they get all this money and all this fame. And you know what comes with all that? Drugs and alcohol and women, right? And nobody wants to say it like this. But some guys are mature enough and have people around them that are mature enough to handle it. And some guys aren't.
Yep.
And universities aren't equipped to handle the problems that are coming. I mean, if you don't think there's going to be financial hardships of a guy making $2.8 million, then you're probably mistaken. Because you go from not having that kind of money to having that kind of money. But like I said, paying your agents, paying your lawyer, paying your financial guy, paying your taxes. You got to pay taxes on it. And then everybody wants a handout. And we hear about all the NFL players that struggle with that. And like I said, the rock star that struggles with that. And you got to keep feeding the beast. You know, everybody wants a piece. When does football and getting your education and, you know, hanging out with your buddies and making lifelong friends in college come about? Because you're worried about, you know, maybe some people that are close to you needing, you know, their house paid for, or their mortgage paid, or their rent paid, you know, and we're flying people in jets to visits and stuff like that. And I get it. That's cool. That's awesome. And that's the new age, but that costs a lot of money. And when people get used to not going and standing in line and traveling commercial and they want to do it all the time. And you can't do that because the money's going to dry out. Now, what about in these contracts I'm hearing, people are going to put performance clauses in there. You get this much if you're a starter. You get this much if you're All-American. You get this much if we win the conference. You get this much if, you know. What's that going to do to a kid trying to, you know, Josh Dobbs trying to become an astronaut?
It's a great point.
It's going to change. I mean, it's already changed a lot of things.
When he's got to take all them hard classes, but he's got to worry about that too because somebody's getting that money, and if he doesn't perform, that money goes away.
Yep.
You know. So there's a reason the system was the way it was, and it was pretty good, even though we all bitched about it.
Right.
All right? It was pretty good. And there's a reason why back in the 60s and the 70s, it was the haves and has-nots, and then we changed everything. Because I'm going to be honest with you, women's athletics, minor sports, will struggle if they keep this model up.
Yep. Walter,
You know.
There's a Cinderella song called "You Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone." I think
That's
that might be appropriate for this.
You know, could it have been tweaked better? Could we have had more compassion for the student athletes and took care of them in a different way and avoided all this? If somebody had some foresight, yes. But what happened is everybody was getting that money and they wanted to stockpile it. And I don't mean this bad. I'm not saying everybody did this, but I know it's happened at some places. They build, you know, the biology building with it. They build, you know, this building. They pay this administrator or this, that, you know, coaches. I mean, instead of giving a little bit back to the players.
100%. Walt, great perspective. Thanks so much for doing this today. I mean, we love getting your perspective on this stuff. So thanks so much.
Well, I appreciate it. And like I said, I mean, I don't know that situation in Knoxville very well, but I can only imagine what they're going through, and it's tough. So, you know, tell the Vol fans to be easy on them.
Well, we will. Good luck to you in spring practice, and we'll be talking to you here very soon.
Sounds great. Y'all have a great day.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Eastern
Okay.
Kentucky football coach Walt Wells joining us here on the program. We will continue this discussion. A lot of you
Wow.
want to continue discussing this. Obviously, a lot of layers to this,
Yes.
but some really good stuff from Coach Wells, and appreciate him. Coming up tomorrow night, again, note tomorrow night, not Wednesday night, Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue. It is Smashville Live. It's going to be Luke Evangelista and Matthew Wood as the special guests. tomorrow starting at 6. Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue. Chasing Big Joe. Hour number 2 next. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Monday. Appreciate Coach Wells for joining us here on the program. And few of you obviously remembered him when he was at Tennessee as the offensive line coach under Butch Jones. Some of you didn't, but Joe's best friend, they grew up together, gives us a great perspective anytime there's big college football news. We'll keep it going with our man Brett Kern, former Titans punter, who is on the line with us. Brett, what's up?
What's up? I'm not sure I can follow up with any great insight like Coach Wells did, but maybe we could talk about the Masters, and I'm sure Big Joe would love to talk golf in the next segment.
He's so excited about that. But I do want to
know he is.
I want to get your perspective because we've texted a little bit about this, the whole Nico Iamaleava situation with Tennessee. Do you, when you see things like this now, I mean, do you kind of sit back and look at how it was, when you were in college and how different things truly are now and how there's really no control at all?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, one time, at Toledo where it was a grind. Honestly, it was hard. You can work in the summer. I was a caddy at Inverness for 3 years, but obviously during football season, even spring ball, like you just can't work. And so, I remember, our boss, great guy, and he took us out to Chili's, and you're looking at at that time, it was a $7 burger and meal, right? And after the third time, he's like, "Hey guys, like I'm a booster. I can't pay for your meal." And you're like, you got to be kidding me, right? And so I think to where it's come now, where it really is the wild, wild west. It's out of control. There's no like accountability. Like if it gets tough, like you can just transfer. You can just hit the portal. If you want to go get more money, go get more money. And you're giving a lot of money. Do I think they should get paid? Absolutely. But these kids are getting some serious money. And I've seen from an NFL side, guys that are paying 10 cell phone bills, guys that are paying 8 car payments for people, for family, and the pressure to you have to get more money so we can take care of people. And it weighs a lot. And so now you're putting it on these kids in some situations that didn't grow up with anything. And now they're getting a ton of cash. But I think the problem that bothers me is just, you can hit the portal. There's no, obviously there's no contract. It's not like the NFL where, you sign a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, deal, and you're getting paid for either your potential or what you've already done, right? And what hopefully you will continue to do. And I just think it's just gotten out of control, and I'm not surprised with what happened with Nico. If he's, getting whatever it was, $2.5 million at Tennessee, and he thinks he can go get more somewhere else, obviously the rules are set up to go do that. But that's tough. That's tough.
It's just crazy to think about that. He's complaining and ends up leaving, and he's making more base salary than Will Levis or Brock Purdy or, guys in the league. It's crazy to think about that. And I'm curious from your perspective, if you've talked to anybody of what the market is for a specialist, for a punter, for a kicker, because I don't think we think about that, and we probably should, because everybody needs those guys.
Yeah. You look at South Carolina's situation. I was talking to Brian Suckup about it this past week, and obviously he went to, South Carolina, and they had a kicker that's, potentially NFL bound, right? Definitely has a chance. And, going in his senior year, he decides to go to Notre Dame to get more money. And, I think it was for maybe $100,000 more. He was probably making 100 at South Carolina, probably went up to Notre Dame for 200, maybe a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure on the numbers, but I know South Carolina could have kept him. And you look at how South Carolina's season went. If they had him, there's a good chance that they're probably in the playoff, right? And so, specialists, there's not a lot of really solid, kickers and punters that are out there. So I'm sure, to have a good one, you probably got to pay a little bit. But, like I said, these kids can, if they're not happy with where they're at, hey, I'm not getting enough field goals attempts, or I'm not punting enough, I'm out, right? And then you go somewhere else. And it's just, you hear of kids that are on their, second school, third school, fourth school. I've heard of kids that, their school will pay for surgery, and they hit the portal to go to a school that will pay for it. And then they go through, their surgery, recovery, maybe some spring ball, and then hit the portal again. They just want their surgery paid for. So I just think it's gotten out of control. I think, the NFL has a really good model that, I think NCAA should really take a hard look at and try to adopt a lot of the principles.
Yeah, that's exactly what Coach Wells said. Brett Kern with us today on the Chase and Big Joe show. Brett, it's funny talking about, when you played in college, I played in college. I got so excited when they would, the card for the cafe would, refill to get the money back on your card to go eat. I thought that was the greatest thing ever. I can only imagine now getting $50,000 to go play football when I was so happy that my lunch card got all the money put back in it. So it's just crazy how this has evolved and what we're talking about now.
Oh man, when you get that lunch card refilled, and it was, what a day, I tell you what. And you had to portion it out too, because you could blow that card pretty quickly for the semester, and you had to portion it out. And honestly, to me, it's probably a blessing that I did get paid $100,000, $200,000 in college. I don't know as an 18-year-old what that would have looked like, honestly.
I would have lost it all. I would have done stupid stuff and lost it all.
Yeah, it's just, I had to learn how to just grind, right? You wake up in the summertime, right? It's, you're at the 5 o'clock workout, 6 a.m. workout. You go grind, and then, I'd go caddy 18 holes, sometimes 36 holes, right, to get paid. And, you got paid $30 a round. And you just had to grind and grind and grind. I learned how to budget, learned how to save, all that stuff that's helped me, obviously, post-college. But I don't know. I wouldn't have worked. I wouldn't have caddied. I wouldn't have made some really good friends along the way. If I was making $100,000, $200,000, probably just would have burned through it all. And then the struggles of that, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I'm on this thing, Brett, and you might be too. I don't mind the guys getting paid because I know what I went through. I probably know what you went through, and we missed out a lot of things because you love playing football. But I don't mind the guys getting paid. I think that's the confliction here is I don't mind you getting paid. I do mind you getting paid $6 million, though. I got a problem with that, but I don't mind them getting paid.
Look, if you want to pay somebody, if you want to pay Nico, $9 million, go pay him $9 million if that's what you think he's worth, and you have the budget to do that. That's your choice, right? Other schools are no, we're perfectly content with paying this kid, $500,000 or $1 million. I just especially, Toledo. It's it's hard because, our basketball team was good last year, right? But then your 3 point guards all hit the portal and go to Baylor, Xavier, larger schools, and all of a sudden now you're not even a 500 program, right? And it's just that it's hard. We had a quarterback. I think what really bothers me is when the portal is. I understand if you want to transfer, because coaches can leave whenever they want to, right? I understand that. I think the kids should have the right to leave. I think maybe when the portal is open, for example, I think it was 2 years ago, Toledo's quarterback had a great season, right? They're going to a bowl game, everything, boom, hits the portal. All of a sudden, we don't really have a quarterback for our bowl game.
Right.
He just leaves. I'm man, you just played the whole season. You had a great season, and now you're out. I think that's a problem. You can go through all spring ball here and have a great spring ball. The coach is hey, we're counting on this guy. All of a sudden, Nico leaves. And, now my quarterback's gone because he thinks he can get that Tennessee job, right? All of a sudden that changes your whole program. It's Nico leaving Tennessee now is going to be a ripple effect for other schools and what happens for them.
It is certainly interesting. Before we let you go, I want to get your quick thoughts on the Masters. I watched the majority of the weekend, thought it was a fantastic tournament. Rory did everything he could to blow it, but ends up winning it. In the long run, becoming the 6th player to be a career Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of emotion. You could tell after that putt went in the playoff against Justin Rose. Somebody that has had the memories in 2011 of shooting to 80 when he had a lead, going into 10. Someone that has probably had a lot of expectations to win more majors. The last one since 2014, that PGA Championship at Valhalla. So clearly there was a lot of emotion that poured out of him and kind of what he's dealt with, expectations, knowing that the Masters is the last, major that he needed to complete the Grand Slam. And he tried to, there was multiple times where I think he tried to throw it away, but at the end he overcame, those 4 double bogeys, first player to ever do that and win a Masters. And, now it's interesting because now, PGA Championships at Quail Hollow, of course, that he's had great success at. The Open is at Royal Portrush up there in Northern Ireland, his, home country. And, the Oakmont U.S. Open, another place where, if his tee ball's on, another place that he can, wreak some havoc. So, I'll be curious to see how this year shapes up for him in the majors.
Dude, I'm looking at some video that Roy's on the practice round. Some dude was heckling him, and he took his phone and threw it in the. I don't know what he did with it. Did you see that video?
I heard about it. I didn't see it, but I don't know. I don't know what I would do. There's you hear the heckling and all that kind of stuff, and
oh, I know what I would do.
I'd throw the phone in the
right.
By the way,
man.
if I had won the Masters after going through everything that he went through, as soon as that ball went in, I'm finding the nearest pond and doing a belly flop immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Not sure what's in that water there at Augusta, but
I mean, everything else
Rory,
is pristine. I can only assume that the water is pristine.
I mean, look, that place is, I've been a couple times, and I think the first time I went there, my goal was to try to find a weed, and I was unsuccessful. So it's a beautiful place.
Have you ever played it?
No, I have not.
I know they invite, some people to play. Like I think JJ Watt's playing today or something, but I don't know. It'd be just one round. And I'd be terrible, but it would be awesome to be able to play Augusta.
I just want to be, I know if you're a volunteer, I want to be one of those guys, after someone hits a sand shot on the green, they come over with a wisp and they, wisp all that sand away. I want to do that because I know if you're a volunteer, you get to play it, I think this week at some point. So I want to be a sand whisper guy.
Yeah.
But listen, Brett, I mean, I'm a terrible golfer. Chase is worse than I am. That they're not going to let us on that course, right? I mean, did you have to have some kind of way that you show that you could play decent, right, to be on that course?
I don't know. You just got to know somebody.
Well, I don't know anybody.
I'm sure. Look, I'm sure at some point the caddy might just say, "Hey, look, we got a pace to play issue here. Let's just pick your ball up."
Even though it hit 2 bystanders, let's grab it anyway.
Brett, great stuff as always. It was kind of nice to not talk draft for a little bit because thank goodness it's almost
very
here.
refreshing.
Yes,
very refreshing.
Yes, for sure. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that next week. But thanks so much. We'll talk to you then.
All right, we'll see you.
See you. Brett Kern, former Titans punter, joining us here on the program. More of your texts and calls on the Nico situation. Plus, there is a prominent former NFL wide receiver that thinks Tennessee might be lying about this whole situation. We will play that and discuss that coming up next.
Chris Sanders.
It is not Chris Sanders. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063, the game here on this Monday. We have covered a lot of ground today. That is for sure. The Atlanta Braves country road trip is coming to town and teaming up with the Nashville Predators and us here at 1025 the game. You can join us at the BetMGM Sports Lounge at Bridgestone Arena. Some giveaways like a chance to win Braves tickets to the game of your choice every 30 minutes, plus Braves hats, t-shirts, and autographed baseballs. The first 15 people in the door will win a pair of tickets to that night's game. For more details, visit thegamenashville.com/events. Continuing to take your calls and texts at 615-737-1025. Our text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com on the Nico Iamaleava situation. And I thought this was interesting. I have not heard this yet. A few of you have texted in about it, and I've seen it on Twitter. But former Bengals Ravens wide receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh essentially is accusing, I think LeVar Arrington's a part of this too, I guess is essentially saying Tennessee's not telling the whole story, that he knows the family and all this stuff. So here is TJ Houshmandzadeh talking about this more.
Reports had surfaced that he had not shown up to practices, and that Nico had ultimately opened up negotiations in terms of what it was going to cost for him to play for Tennessee.
And that's false.
Okay.
They're lying. Tennessee's lying. And they probably like, damn, hope nobody comes up and disputes this.
Okay.
But they're lying.
All right.
And I know this is fact, not as
well, we know you know
speculation.
him. We know you know him, know the family or whatever. So go ahead, let us know.
My thing is this, right? If you say you're gonna do something, do it. And if you're not gonna do it, just be up front so everybody can make a decision that is best for them. But when the player makes a decision that is best for him, now you want to lie and put out false narratives about the reason.
So you're saying it's about the offensive scheme. It's not about the money.
He gonna get the money regardless. Whether he stayed at Tennessee or he hits the portal, he getting a lot of money regardless.
But the reports, if I'm just giving you the things to feed back off of or to respond to, the reports is that he was negotiating what that money would be at Tennessee, which in the NIL era, in the NIL space, sometimes that is something that takes place and at these different schools with the different players. I mean, we've seen that with the other who were the kids that played for, Florida State and played for.
I mean, you look at every sport, women's basketball, men's basketball, men's football.
There's negotiations going on.
That's what it is. And it's a great LeVar. I love it.
All right. So that was LeVar Arrington and TJ Houshmandzadeh on Fox Sports Radio. He never said how they're lying.
Right.
He just said they were lying.
Well, I know you know the family. Yeah, they were lying about all that stuff.
I mean, what? Okay, that's compelling. You got me to click, listen to it, but play it on the air. But it's like, okay, how? And then they're saying it's about about the scheme. It's not about the money that he's going to get paid. I'm
what?
Like, who? No,
look,
all the reports we've heard is he's been trying to get paid for 6 months.
Are you paying me $2 million to run the spread offense? You come to me and say, we're going to pay you $4 million to run the triple option. Where do I sign up?
Yeah, okay,
about
yeah,
the
you got
offense. There's a couple of bozos think they know what's going on, and they don't. They know as much as we do, which is nothing. That's it.
Yeah, I want to how does he know the family?
Yeah,
he and dad doing curls on the beach. What's going? I don't know. And I like TJ Houshmandzadeh. I mean, he's been on.
Oh, you hanging out with him? Something?
No, he's been on the show.
Spell his last name.
No. The texter says, TJ, who's your mama?
That's right. Look, it's not going to be he said, she said. I think Tennessee's taking the high road. We've moved on. Heupel was very gracious on Saturday and said, I love Nico, love this time here. Now we move on. That's it.
Josh Heupel may, and I would think even Danny White's probably involved in this. There's a group, but they made a calculated and executive coaching decision that I think they had to make. They could not let this drag out. And it sucks because it was, right before the spring game and all that stuff. But they had to make the decision of, we either let this drag out and get more and more public and it puts a rift in our locker room, which apparently was already starting to do, or we get in front of this and say, hey, Nico's not here anymore. We're moving on.
Yep.
And I think they made the right move. And it might be to their detriment because, they're either going to have a young quarterback or a, less experienced or whatever coming in. But at the same time, you have to do what's best for the locker room. And what was best for the locker room, in my opinion, was to move on. And that's what they did.
100%. 100% with all that goes on. It's ridiculous, man. So he's gone. You move forward. Heupel was gracious. Now, where does Nico land? I wouldn't want him. I don't want.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a team that takes a chance on him.
Sacramento State.
No, I mean, he'll end up in a Power 4 school. I mean, well, it'd be 3 of the 4. It can't go to the SEC. Had he done this at the end of the year, when the portal, first opened up, I think he'd be the starting quarterback at Alabama. But they can't, they can't get him. So I think he ends up in a West Coast school closer to home.
Making pennies to what he could have made.
No, I mean, they'll pay him.
You think someone's going to pay him $1 million?
Yes. I think he'll make the $4 million that he wants.
God, I hope you're so wrong.
Yeah,
I
but
really
I'm
do.
not going to be.
I don't.
That's the problem. Because there's always one school that's going to be like, yeah, we got you.
I don't want the headache, man.
Yeah,
I don't.
no.
Stay away from me. I don't want the headache. But if whoever gets him, good luck. You know what you're getting.
Yep.
Show.
Let's go to Kenny the mailman real quick. Who wants to weigh in on this? Hi, Kenny.
Hello, good friends. How are y'all?
Oh, we're wonderful.
I had a reporting question about this issue, but first, Joe says so many unfunny jokes and just they bomb. Friday, he had one of his best ever, and I have to acknowledge at 10:45 when he said everyone heard Clay at the Holiday Express yell, "Those are not pillows!" I almost fell out of my truck. If you know what it means, you know, and if you don't, look it up. But
thank
Joe,
you.
The reporter that reported this took a lot of heat. He was called names, fake news, liar, liar. What does vindication feel like? And what was the one story you had that people were just calling you a liar and you knew it was true and it finally came out and you took the most heat over? Good to listen to y'all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kenny. Think about that and answer that on the other side. It's probably something with Kirk Herbstreit, but
Right.
Think about that.
They make me mad.
And answer that. 615-737-1025. It's Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 the game here on this Monday. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day so far.
All right, can you play? All right, this is Nico and Tennessee, and you'll recognize the scene.
Help like you. Is that a fact? That's a fact. Well, I'm real scared. Damn right you're scared. I can see that in your eyes. All right, well, go ahead. Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Tombstone.
I was about to say that.
When Kurt Russell slaps Billy Bob Thornton around right there, he's like, "You won't do anything." And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do something," and that's what they did.
They walked away. Here's where I think Nico Iamaleava is going to land.
Okay.
Because it would be the perfect fit for him and Daddy. He'd probably get he will get the money, and the head coach likes to stir it up anyway.
Oh,
and he needs a new star because his stars are all gone. Colorado. Dion.
You think?
I think
so?
he ends up in Colorado.
I thought you were going to go Ole Miss.
He can't go in the SEC.
Why not?
In the spring transfer window, you cannot stay in the conference.
Oh, see, I'm learning stuff
Yeah.
every day.
I think he goes to Colorado.
That's a great. I did not even think about that.
He would be a superstar there. Dion needs, he doesn't have his sons or Travis Hunter anymore.
Wow. All right, I'm with you on this.
They just got Caden Salter from Liberty. He was that G5 quarterback. Yeah.
Well, he was one Caden Salter, a Tennessee quarterback at one time.
He was.
He was.
Yeah, he ran all over MTSU last year. Liberty quarterback did.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, but again, like that just fits.
That's right. Competition, man. You think Dion cares? He just wants a guy to get in there.
Yeah.
Big
That's a
show.
good one. That's
He's a big show
good one.
quarterback.
Yeah. Man, this will be interesting. Does he have to declare the next 9 days when the portal opens, or can he do it now?
Probably. I don't know.
I mean, they walked away from a guaranteed $2 million as a starting quarterback at the University of Tennessee. How stupid do you have to be?
So apparently there's this crystal ball app or something that people are using, and they put Nico, they looked in the crystal ball of where he's going to go, and everyone's saying UNC. Belichick and Nico.
I mean, do you want the headache?
I mean, I don't think he cares.
I mean, what did Nico do last year that would put him? And that's the thing. We laughed last week. He wasn't a top 10 quarterback. Then all of a sudden, he came at number 10 on the on-3 graphic after they get called out. But I think he's an elite. I think he's just a good quarterback.
All right.
Nothing good or great.
His stats last year, he was 213 of 334, so that's a 63.8 completion percentage. He had just over 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 143.3.
All right, now take out the Tennessee-Chattanooga game, take out the Kent State game,
Yep.
take out the other garbage UTEP game they had.
Yep.
Show me what he did in conference. I want to know that. Who did he run out of? Was it the Arkansas game? He ran out of bounds and they lost the game?
Too early.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He just wasn't the guy. It's okay. You paid him last year.
And that's why I think Tennessee was so quick to go, all right, see ya.
Yeah. You're not going to bully us.
All right. To your point. So you take UTC had 314 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kent State, he only had 173 yards, 1 touchdown. But let's just go conference, right? All right. Oklahoma, 194, 1 touchdown, no picks. He had 15 rushing yards, no rushing touchdowns.
And
Arkansas.
they won the game.
And they won the game. Arkansas lost the game. 158 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 17 rushing yards. Florida won the game in overtime. 169 yards, 1 interception, 1 rushing yard. Alabama won the game. 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 44 rushing yards, no rushing touchdowns. Kentucky, 292 yards, 1 touchdown, 14 rushing yards. Mississippi State, 174 yards, 167 against Georgia, lost that game. 200 UTEP, 209 yards, 4 touchdowns. Vandy, 257 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then in the playoff game, only 104 yards. They say no intercept. I thought he had an interception.
I don't know.
Yeah, 104 yards. So to your point, I mean, basically when it counted, he was very mediocre.
Yeah. That's
So-
okay. He wasn't the guy. But don't demand more money when you're not the guy. Hit the road, pal, and he's gone. And this has united this fan base. How many texts did you get that say, good for Nico? Nico won this, and Tennessee's dumb? None. We know. Good job by Tennessee on this.
Nevada Josh had said it before. I didn't see his text before I said Colorado, but he said Colorado. So we're on the same page there.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
But if he doesn't go to Colorado, uh-oh.
Go further out west.
Joey from Bellevue says Jared posted a retweet on X when Dion said no thank you to Nico. Do y'all believe a word that comes out of that man's mouth? Like, come on.
No. And if he doesn't go to Colorado, I don't know where he could land. I really
Okay.
don't.
All right. We have to address this text because again, he's using the y'all word and just basically putting everybody in a big bucket. 3901 says y'all build Nico up for the past 2 years. Now he's a bum. Got it. Your homer is showing.
No, he's not talking to us. He's talking to the fan base.
Yeah.
Because I didn't build him up. I thought,
I mean, I'd never really thought he was what he was hyped up to be.
no. And the sample size we had was the Outback Bowl versus Iowa, or the Citrus Bowl, where he came in and did really well. He did really well that day. And like, all right, expectations are good. Last year, he just wasn't as good. And you saw it during the games, and it happens. It's okay. But the fact Tennessee did not give in to his demands shows me that, hey, yeah, they didn't really believe that he was the guy, and that's okay. But Tennessee didn't cave into him. That's why I think college football got better on Saturday because of that.
Yep. So obviously a lot more to come out on this, but I don't think it's going away anytime soon. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, I'll tell you what day it is and celebrity birthdays. We're broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. You want to win an exclusive Keith Urban experience?
Yeah.
Text in the keyword Keith, Keith, now to 615-737-1025 and receive a link to sign up for a chance to win an all-inclusive tickets to the Eurostone Club at Bridgestone Arena to see Keith Urban, plus a chance to win $1,000 in cash. That would be a very cool prize to jump on as well. Nashville's best deal this week is Chiba Hut Toasted Subs. Get half off a $50 gift card now. Just go to thegamenashville.com/deals and celebrate 420 the Chiba way on Donaldson Pike. Real quick, before we get to what day is it, celebrity birthdays, Mike wants to weigh in on Nico. Mike, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Enjoying the show. I'm
Thank
a
you.
first-time caller and kind of passing through town, actually. But as a former D1 athlete that plays football, I'm actually siding with Nico in this. And, you know, I'm actually, I took a visit to Tennessee a long time ago, 1992, and I almost went to school there. And here's why I'm siding with Nico. Personally, I just feel like, I agree with TJ. He's not there. It's not about the money, because he's going to get the money wherever he goes. I just don't think he wants to be there anymore. And in my opinion, he felt like if he was going to be there, knowing that Tennessee is not going to be as strong of a team that they're going to have as they were last year, making the playoffs, it's got to be worth his while. Okay, he's going to have to shoulder a huge load this year. He didn't have a bad year last year. I mean, that was his first year really officially starting. So I'm assuming he would have a better year this year, but without the weapons, without the defense, I mean, I don't think Tennessee is a playoff caliber team. So he was going to take a lot of criticism if he didn't live up to expectations, which probably on paper, he probably wasn't. West Coast guy, Colorado's not in the cards for him because Deion has a 5-star recruit that's already on campus and a guy that's in his 5th year in Caden Salters. So that's not even close to being an option. I just don't think he wanted to be at Tennessee anymore.
Okay, that's a fair point. Thanks for the call, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yep.
I mean, look, I'm glad we have someone. I hate it that it's at the end of the show that is Team Nico. I mean, obviously he has a different perspective there, but I just feel like there were more factors involved here with the dad getting him, you know, kind of playing as the spokesperson, but we may never truly know the truth.
You're exactly right, man.
With it. With that, let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays. That's you. Oh, wait, that's me. Sorry. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies, Inc., above and beyond industry standards. Visit them at jarrettcompanies.com.
All right, gentlemen. First on the list, we have Children with Alopecia Day, so that's awareness. Dreams.
You know what that is?
Yeah, it's where the hair falls out.
It's baldness. Yeah, God bless him, man.
Yeah. Next, we have is Dreams of Reason Feast Day. So just a picture of space. Ex-Spouse Day is today. Holy Monday. And
It is Holy
let's
Monday,
see,
for sure.
International Laver Bread Day. It's a Welsh food. It looks like seaweed, like a seaweed pudding. It's kind of gross.
Pass.
Yeah. International Moment of Laughter Day. Look Up at the Sky Day. National Dolphin Day. Let's see. Pan American Day. Pathologist Assistance Day. Reach as High as You Can Day. National Grits Day. And to wrap it up, National Pecan Day.
Oh, like
Love
it.
some pecans.
Pecans are good. Has your partner back there says you don't pee in a can, right?
You don't.
Pecan, right? All right. Time for celebrity birthdays. Got to get these within 2. Our first birthday is Doctor Who actor Peter Capaldi. How old is Doctor Who?
Is he in the new one or the old one?
He is, I'm thinking, the old one. Don't they rotate doctors?
I don't know. I've never watched it. 84.
80.
He is 67.
Nice.
Next birthday is, how are we doing today? Guess my computer loads. Good to see you. Oh, Anthony Michael Hall, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles. Was really good in The Dead Zone, the TV show.
There was another show he was in.
Vacation, Chevy Chase.
Oh, wait.
Vacation.
Any in Dexter?
I don't remember.
No,
his name is, Dexter's name is like Anthony Hall or something.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 48.
44.
57.
Nice.
All right. Academy Award winner Adrian Brody.
74.
65.
52. Sarah Michelle Gellar.
57.
58.
48. It's really
We're
good.
great today.
All right. Who else? Go down here. Let's see. Actor Brad Garrett. Everybody loves Raymond.
62.
70.
65. 0-0. Now, rapper Debrat. Rapper.
38.
32.
51. Oh,
Right.
this is good today. Me like it a lot. All right, let's go to sports birthdays. LPGA golfer Meg Mallon.
41.
47.
62. San Diego quarterback took them to their only Super Bowl, Stan Humphries.
63.
71.
60. All right, Chase, you need to start rolling now. David Justice.
Former Brave David Justice is 55.
52.
59.
Dang.
Chase, you got to get this one. Greg Maddux.
Mad Dog. 57.
60.
Oh, 59. Nick gets it. 1-0. Former Temple basketball player, played with the Pistons, Mark Macon.
48.
47.
56. Former Braves pitcher, Steve Avery.
Oh, wow. 57.
60.
55. Tied at 1. Former Tullahoma High School, Alabama linebacker, Detroit Lions linebacker, Antonio London.
48.
40.
54. One tied at 1. MMA legend Anderson Silva.
45.
37.
50. Baker Mayfield.
The Bake Show is 33.
38.
30. Got tied at 1. We got 2 left. DJ Moa was traded from the Panthers to the Bears in the Bryce Young trade.
29.
33.
28. Chase up 2-1. We've come down to the last birthday. Former number 2 pick in the 2019 draft, Chase Young, now with the Saints. How old is Chase Young?
30.
28.
26, and we got a tie. You guys don't deserve to win anything else. We're done. Tied at 2.
That'll do it for us. DVD coming up next.
Oh my goodness. Hey, to your guys out there, you made it to the weekend. We tell you all the time our world's a better place because you are here. If you're going through anything, please reach out to us on your cell phone. You can dial 988. You can text 988. We talk all the time that you are loved. You are tremendously loved. If something happened to you, you'd be tremendously missed. That's why we do this message all the time, to know that our world is a better place because you are here. Know that we love you. More importantly, more than anything else, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. DVD from Bridgestone Arena. Coming up next, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.